As of recording, Wipe is happening tomorrow on the 18th. Lots of people, myself included, are hyped for the new changes that we saw in the sneak peek with Odin and Grayson. I really hope they change Wizard when they introduce Sorcerer, but neither that nor the new map are cause for me to worry. The socketing system, however, has me greatly concerned. With the continuous dungeon and socketing, I'm really hoping they get rid of the Gearscore brackets entirely, and here's why. Purple items, even right now, feel like horrid garbage. It forces you into the 225 plus Gearscore bracket, and since you're not wearing BIS, you die immediately. With the dungeon gates being open early, hopefully this will mitigate some of the problems with large gear differentials. But if they leave the brackets the way they are, then folks probably won't even really play the higher gear score lobbies at all, since you'd be able to so easily acquire a full set of BIS stats with the most affordable, low-grade gear. Another problem is that High Roller, and going deeper in the dungeon, would penalize you hard by giving you purple gems and purple equipment. People might still be interested in the orange stuff, but the epic value equipment would essentially be dumpstered by the fact that it's so much easier to acquire or pay for the lower grade gems. The luck stat would actually hurt you, because people would once more be motivated to simply stay under the correct gear score umbrella for their desired loadout. This would basically cause purple items, and sometimes even orange items, to be worth less than their green and blue counterparts, which is both silly and leads us back to the problem that people had with 69.1, which was that, basically, there's no point to grind for endgame gear anymore. The solution here is, and stay with me here, is to remove the brackets entirely and lower the power-up associated with high-level armor, which seems counterintuitive, but listen. During patch 69.1, we saw what it was like to have gear flattened completely, and while I enjoyed that, it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, and for good reason. Unfortunately, socketing potentially provides the same problem that folks were complaining about. Very rare items, which previously meant lucky rolls, are going to be worth a lot less than they were. Hopefully, people are less butthurt about this change happening during a wipe, but it also means that this is the perfect time to reduce the power of all gear again, and rather than bringing common gear up to the level of legendary gear, which is what they did before, all you've got to do is implement enough of the training menu so that people can specialize their character and stats there, at least to a degree, before specializing further with gear and, again, even more with sockets. The way I imagine the perfect system, you get no actual stat bonuses from choosing options in the training menu, instead choosing modifiers similar to the current racial bonuses. You sacrifice one stat to gain another. That way, you don't actually have to change the gear very much at all. As a side note, I actually think that gear should generally work this way too. If the random rolls and sockets hold most of the raw power gain that has no penalty attached to it, then high-level loot will still retain a lot of value even if the values, the base stats, get squished a little. Plate armor should give penalties to resourcefulness and probably willpower as well. A huge problem with Fighter lately is that their ability to use off-class weapons using the Weapon Mastery perk is kinda overpowered. But if you just make it so that the plate armor makes your magazine on your bow or your willpower and magic damage a lot lower, then the problem sort of goes away. Some items, like the Dark Cuirass, literally give you benefits to both of these stats while still being highly armoring, and it just bewilders me that that's a thing. They've really got some balancing to do here and on all of the armors. To bring it back to the sockets, I really hope they launch the new system in a balanced and thoughtful way, but if the past is any kind of teacher, then I imagine we're going to have a bumpy start. What do you guys think of a system where the random rolls and sockets are a little bit more limited? For example, if +2 agility is something that everyone has on every single piece of gear that they ever wear, What's the point of even having such a complex system? If the sockets and rolls could only generate +1 of a given attribute, maybe it would decrease the malleability of certain builds, but not if we move some of the changeability to a training menu, right? Then you can build whichever stat you want, but at least at BIS level, which will be more achievable with socketing than ever before, people won't necessarily be able to just hold the W and M1 while turning their brain off. It will just allow them to have a space to build their character into a specific style, with strengths and weaknesses, which is what every character should have. I don't mind a wizard having 7 fireballs, but why do they regenerate them all as a reward for meditating for 10 seconds? I don't mind rogues, who are as fast as the wind, but why do they also kill things in 3 hits with a rondel dagger? I don't mind barbarians being swift and lethal, but then why do they also have so much health and armor? Even with BIS, I don't feel that people should be able to spread themselves across so many parts of the Golden Triangle as they're currently able to. And socketing has the potential to not only make this worse, but also to devalue the absolute hell out of certain gear and builds, even more than has already happened. When was the last time you saw anybody besides the new double hide charge rogue using the item Old Shoes? Old Shoes should be dope. The item gives you a 10% cooldown to your skills, if it's at least purple value, but nobody cares, because most skills have less than a 30-second cooldown anyway, so what's that, like 3 seconds? Smart decisions and limited power should be the name of the game, if it really is trying to be a hardcore dungeon crawler. But builds currently allow people to just avoid the penalties of their own tactical mistakes, and that feels really bad. If they don't fix that one simple fact, then it doesn't matter what they do to make the gear more available to noobs or to try to make the Timmy experience better by flattening gear completely. It'll just continue to be a boring PvP exchange that ultimately ends your adventure. And I really, really want this game to survive to the finish line, which means improving the experience for new players without totally devaluing the purple, orange, and unique items that are available as endgame content. What do you guys think? Would a bit of flattening be acceptable if random rolls stayed strong? Should we keep the gear brackets to force Timmys to get good? Tell me your thoughts in the comments.